Hey guys, welcome to my educational giant presentation on Noah Webster. Let's just get started. First of all, who is Noah Webster? I'm sure you guys want to know. So, Noah Webster was an American lexicographer, and a lexicographer, in short, is someone that compiles dictionaries and revises dictionaries. He was also a textbook pioneer. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but he did some insane, awesome work in the textbook field. And he was an English spelling reformer, which we'll also talk about a little bit later. He made a big impact on that, and because of all those things that he contributed, he's known as the father of American scholarship and education. So when you hear the name Noah Webster, or more specifically his last name Webster, it has to sound a little bit familiar, right? So you guys probably know that name because of his last name from the Merriam-Webster Collegiate Dictionary, or the plain old dictionary. Noah Webster was one of the people that compiled that dictionary and made a lot of revisions to that dictionary and added a lot of words. And a lot of us, especially students, we use that very often. I know I have to look up a lot of words in the dictionary for these like crazy college readings that I have to do. So, shout out to Noah Webster. Thank you for that. Moving on to a little timeline of Noah Webster's life. He was born in West Hartford, Connecticut in 1758. And he was born to kind of a poorer family. His dad was a farmer and a deacon in their local church, and his mom was a housewife and also homeschooled Noah and his 4 siblings. So he came from pretty humble beginnings, and his parents wanted to have him have a better life than he did, right? So they helped him go to Yale University at the age of 16. So this guy, he's pretty much a genius, enrolls in in Yale University at the age of 16 in when was it? 1774. So he enrolls in Yale. He leaves a little bit to go into the army, but then he graduates in 1778. He wanted to continue his education, but because his parents were out of money, he just decided to become a teacher instead. So he taught back in Connecticut in the West District of Hartford. And while he was teaching, he wrote a book called The American Speller, also known as the Blue-Backed Speller, because it comes with a blue cover. I'll talk about that and the story on that a little bit later. Then in 1806, he published a compendious dictionary of the English language. Then in 1828, he published an American dictionary of the English language that we now know as Webster's Dictionary. So he did all that before his death in 1843 at the age of 86. So to move on, I'm going to be talking mostly about the Blue-Backed Speller and an American Dictionary of the English language. So let's move on. So moving on to the American Speller, also known as the Blue-Backed Speller. So when Noah started teaching school, he noticed that the books that he was using were British, that they were using in the American schools. And he noticed that they had a lot of kind of like propaganda in them for loyalty to the king, and he wasn't having any of that. So he decided that there needed to be a change. And since there weren't any textbooks that weren't British at the time, he decided that, of course, he was going to write them himself. So he first, again, he wrote the American Speller, his own textbook that he used that didn't have any propaganda to the king, and it's pretty much the first American textbook, and it was super popular because it was the first of its kind, and it was a super updated version of what they've been teaching for years and years, and it was American. And so, because of its popularity, it sold almost 100 million copies, which is a lot, especially in those days. So that was one of his crazy contributions to education. Moving on to the dictionary. So Webster was a patriot, and he had this idea of unifying America and the American education system through language, through the English language. So first he wanted to unify the educational system by writing the blue-backed speller, for American students. That was the first way he unified them. But then he took some of the British words that had different spellings and made them more Americanized. He claimed that from the principle of uniformity, words that had definite similarities, such as nouns and their derivatives, needed to have similar spelling. So he took words like color, that used to be spelled, and is still spelled in England, C-O-L-O-U-R, and now we spell it C-O-L-O-R. And that's just one of the tons of different examples of words that he changed. So he decided that America needed to have its own dictionary with all these different spellings. So he compiled the American Dictionary of the English Language with all the different spellings. So now you have American spellings, American words, and so many. Originally it had 70,000 words, over 70,000 words, and of course that's been revised over time. But we can thank Noah Webster for getting the ball rolling and creating the first American dictionary. So, to sum things up, we have Noah Webster to thank for getting us started on the path to using relevant and factually strong textbooks in the classroom. Dictionaries that he wrote and compiled and revised are still used daily all across the country, and all of these contributions by Noah Webster have made positive steps in America's educational system and have helped lead us to the educational system that we have today. I want to thank you guys for watching my presentation. I hope you liked it, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks.